There is something that happened today that has genuinely stopped me in my tracks, even though I should have known better. I'm going to start this by saying I have been, and I recommend anyone follows the work of the wonderful Dr. Jessica Eccles, and particularly the Bendy Brain podcast, because her education and work on hypermobility and all that means and its connections to neurodivergence is incredible. What happened? Well, about 3 weeks ago, while bouldering, I was trying a new climb set by a friend. Now, the first move of this is technically called a rockover, but what it involved was, on a slightly overhanging wall, my leaning to my left hand side with my foot on a small hold and my hand up at about left shoulder height, and then placing my right heel on a small shelf that was realistically about my mid-chest height, rocking my body weight all the way as far as I could towards that right knee, while pressing down on my heel and internally rotating my knee towards the wall, and then trying to use that as a lever to help me then reach up a further 1.5 feet to reach the next hold. Now, that was a climb I tried probably around 10 or 15 times that evening, and eventually I gave up after much stretching. And it wasn't until the end of the night, when I was trying another climb with a similar move and I heard a pop, that I decided it was time to go home. After which I was essentially immobile. Now, I have been seeing the same physio for almost a decade, so I've learned from him, and I was able to realise that, well, I was essentially doing an aggressive piriformis stretch, so I presumed I'd stretched, torn, damaged my piriformis, but what I couldn't understand was why it felt like sciatica, and it turned out that the piriformis has been pressing on my sciatic nerve. In a physio appointment today, I was asked to do some standard flexibility tests to see how damaged it was, and it occurred to me, every time I did something, my physio said, "But that's really good, but you're really flexible. But that's a great range of movement for somebody who's injured." And it's never occurred to me that I've just been naturally bendy all my life. There have been times where I've been able to do the splits, and I can regularly do quite deep stretches. But the thing I've never realised until now is I don't realise when I'm pushing too far. And it's only that there was an audible pop in my backside that made me back off this time. The penny's dropped. The hypermobility has been there all along. I'm not slight edit. What I mean here is that because of ADHD, autism, and differences in proprioception and sensory processing, I've never realised when I'm pushing too far, and just thought that I was naturally bendy. Naturally gifted, naturally that flexible, just because of talent. It's because of everything. And I'm now wondering how many other men, particularly, have always just thought that they are a bit more flexible, but really would never have connected it to their ADHD or any other part of their neurodivergence, because it's left me quite dumbfounded.